And welcome to the final What If episode for season 1 of What If. Yay! This one made up for a lot of the things I didn't like about the last ones. And I'll just leave that there for now. I'm Dub.
I'll explain it later, and then Blythe and I will get mad at him for it. So just wait for it, listeners. Yeah. Just wait for it, listeners.
I'm here with Blythe, and I'm here with Courtney, and I'm happy because there's no scrolls.
Oh, Lordy.
This episode is What If Ultron Interfered?
What if the Watcher interfered?
That's what I meant. It's been a long day.
So, unfortunately, you're both wrong. It's what if the Watcher broke his oath?
That's what it is. Thank you. I knew that wasn't quite right.
Is there a multiverse where he didn't with the other multiverses?
Nah.
So, just to twist your brain a little bit, so there'd be a multiverse of multiverses?
Right. Yeah. No, I think there's just multiple Watchers, right? In the comic book canon, there is.
There really are.
There's more than one Watcher in the comic, but Mm-hmm. He's not the only one.
Which I guess in MCU canon there is too, because after Guardians 2, when you see Stan Lee as like the Watcher informant, there's like 3 of them standing.
2 or 3,
having a little powwow of.
So there's more than one. So, but then there's also he who remains, and he's kind of like a Watcher. Whatever. That's just I'm just.
I think that's his own thing. But anyway, so here's what I'm happy about. I say
there's no scrolls.
I'm very happy about that.
That's the beauty about the scrolls, is that any of them can be scrolls.
Shut up.
Right.
Shut up. But what I appreciated is they did close it, so it doesn't feel like, okay, well, this is the norm and everything's going to be multiverse and everybody that dies, who cares? But I felt like they closed the loop enough that I'm a lot better off. I'm a lot happier than where I was, because I was like, that was my big concern. And I've made that very clear that I love some multiverse, but I don't want that to be like the thing, if that makes sense. So how did you guys feel going into this episode? It's not going to be the thing.
Well, we have at least 2 movies where it's going to be the thing.
And I'm okay as long as they self-contain it. I don't want to see all the other stuff so much.
You're such a curmudgeon.
I am, but I'm okay with that. Because at least I give things a shot, so shut up. I gave things the A's that you guys gave C's to, so I'm just leaving it at that.
And we did the same thing, so...
We do that. You know what? Opinions are opinions. But, Blythe, what did you think of this episode in general?
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed Killmonger a lot more in this than I did in the previous What If episode.
Way better.
I think that's because we went into it a little bit in that one, but he treaded a lot of the same water as he did in his actual movie. But in this, I got to see more of what I expect from him, and that's being a villain, even if he's pulled in to be a good guy. Going into it, I expected a team up. We got a team up, and I liked the pieces that were pulled.
Surprised me some of the pieces that they put in there.
Yeah, I know I'm sure we'll talk about it later, but I can't wait for next season so that we can see the Gamora Stark team up actually happen.
Yeah, I think that's coming.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So what about you, Courtney? What did you think of this episode in general?
I enjoyed it. I really did. The fight scenes were really good. And I mean, everybody remembers Courtney loves their fight scenes. But I really, because they have so much more freedom in animation than they do with the live action stuff. And don't get me wrong, we love the live action stuff, but they have more freedom in the animation. I think we got a lot more in terms of like collective battle, which I dug a lot. Yeah. So, and then, my love for Peggy Carter's true.
Of course. So how did you guys feel? I feel like they definitely put it into your minds that anybody that's dead now isn't necessarily dead, because they can just pull them out of another multiverse, just drop them in, as they did with Black Widow. So How do you guys feel about that? I'm kind of torn on it because I love it because I'm like, cool, I can keep my characters, that I can get my good Quicksilver back and all that. But then again, I'm like, it gets to be lazy writing. That's like scroll writing. How do you guys feel about that particular thing that they really put into your mind, that nobody could really be dead anymore? Or is that
Nobody
just
could
me
really
thinking?
be dead before. I
Mm,
mean, that's how comic books
that's how
work,
comic
and
books work, but they
Yeah.
made it so
yeah,
that we
and
could do it in
yeah.
this bigger
But I mean, I
universe.
think I think they had been with WandaVision and pulling Evan Peters in, even if he was Pietro,
Hmm.
they were setting that kind of stuff up to happen already. So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see Peters back as Quicksilver at some point in time. But yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily agree that it's lazy writing. I mean, but it is. I
I'm
mean,
not
it's a
saying it
trope, but I
is.
don't know
I'm
if it's
saying it
lazy
could be.
writing. Um, and I mean, I don't know. I kind of took I kind of took Nat being dropped into a world that had lost their widow as the Watcher's way of giving her a reward for what she had done to help save the multiverse, because everybody else got something out of it. And we didn't, we don't find out about Peggy's until after, but I mean,
Yeah,
everybody else that we'd seen up until that point had gotten some sort of
happy-ish ending.
happy-ish ending, a reward, and this was his way of giving her her reward. I don't know if it was actually just Marvel saying, well, now we can plop anybody anywhere. I just took it as at face value as her reward for helping save the multiverse.
That's fair. What about you, Blige? You think that that's going to be a thing now, or is that going to be just a one-time thing? You think?
I don't think it's hard to say because we know in the live action verse you have contracts that are ending, and once those contracts end, those actors don't necessarily come back, so that's why they kill them off, but then contracts can be
Like
renewed.
Doctor
So
Who. Yeah.
they've definitely
Mm-hmm.
given themselves a way to put people back. um I hope they don't. That's plagued the comic book industry for
Mm-hmm.
forever now, is that no one, and it's a joke, right? Is anytime a main character dies, Wolverine died, Professor Xavier died, Captain America dies, everyone
Deadpool's died.
yeah,
Everybody's
everyone's
died.
died. And when they die, we're like, all right, well, we'll see him in
A year.
5, maybe 10 years.
I'm
If they were,
I,
I think Wolverine lasted like 5-6 years before they brought him back
I think Marvel just killed off Doctor Strange, if I remember the article that I read
in the
correctly. So I
books.
mean,
Yeah.
Which is part of
yeah,
why I stopped reading.
Yeah, right.
yeah.
So it's hard to, it definitely gives them an out. I hope that they don't use it. I would much rather see like Yelena come and fill that spot of being a Black Widow, because I did like her character in the
Yeah.
Black Widow movie, as
Mhm.
opposed to trying to bring Scarlett Johansson back. Now, I'm okay if maybe they do like prequel type stuff or like flashback type things and bring those actor backs for little cameos. Those are exciting to see, but I'm kind of with you, Deb, where I'm just like, I hope this doesn't set a precedence for
Exactly.
them creating ways to bring back actors when they finally get around to renewing their contracts. But I also hope that Marvel, if they are in talks to renew contracts, doesn't kill off a character.
Just to do it.
Yeah, just to do it,
Mhm.
just for that shock factor of like, oh, you
Yeah.
killed
Which
Chris Hemsworth as Thor. Well, all of us know that he's got a 7 contract deal, so he's not really dead.
is what
Yeah.
has ruined comic books.
Yeah, it's
You
it's
know,
been a rough patch for comic books,
it
for
hasn't helped.
at least with Marvel and DC. I know
Yeah.
there's a lot of indie stuff out there where it
Indies,
doesn't
indies are
necessarily
where it's
matter.
at. Let's be honest.
Yeah, but Marvel and DC definitely have spread themselves thin on the shock factor of killing off major characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my favorite part of this was the part that really got me excited and got me yelling at the TV. Don't put Zola in. No, don't put him in the. Oh my! And I was 100% sold. I mean, you know that there's got to be a nice bow at the end, but I was invested. I thought that part to me was really out of all the what if, I think that, what was 3 minutes was probably the most exciting thing I've seen out of the What If. Completely. I don't know if anybody else felt that way. Did anybody else have a spot that they just like, oh my gosh, that they were invested in on this particular episode?
So I had a reaction to that same moment, but I think it was different from why you did because we talked about it last week about Zola and
Mhm.
how all I've wanted is to see him in this little chest cavity, and they gave us
And they
chest
got it.
Zola.
Yep.
So I was very excited. I was like, yes, this is the closest thing we've ever seen besides some weird Captain America game that came out like in 2000.
Yep.
What
I
about
was
you,
shouting
Courtney?
at the TV. I was shouting at the TV at Killmonger. I'm like, you've learned nothing.
Which I would you
It's
just
like, you're
want you want
still
him to?
evil. It's just, yeah. So it was like, ah. So it was that for me in that particular scene. But I love the Nat and Peggy team up. That was fun for me.
That was a really fun relationship that I didn't know
Right?
that I didn't know I
Wanted.
wanted to see that. But I want it.
Uh-huh.
I like
Mhm.
that suddenly made me a little more okay if we see live action Peggy, Captain Britain or whatever they call it.
Carter.
Did you like the Winter Soldier Captain Carter suit?
With the red? Yes.
No, it did. They took out the red, so it's just the blue and silver. So they
I
didn't.
didn't even notice it, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, she
So
just got her the reds out of it.
yeah, it's called the stealth suit, and they introduced it in Captain America: Winter Soldier on that same scene where he like jumps in the water.
Yeah.
The only thing
And he
they
fights
didn't
for
change,
himself,
which
yeah.
I
Oh,
wish
okay,
they
yeah, I
would
know
have,
what you're
was
I know
the
what you're talking
shield.
about,
Because they give him
Yeah.
like the stealth shield in Winter Soldier, but they didn't in this one. And I really wish Rumlow would have said the line where the guy's like, "Was he wearing a chute?"
Is she wearing a shoe? Yeah, I was waiting for that.
I was waiting
I was
for it, and I was
waiting
like,
for that.
"Oh man!"
As Peggy's flying into the water, I'm like, gonna do it. Oh, they're not gonna do
Yeah.
it.
Now, I want to talk what if in general, but first I want to hit on the end credits scene, which most people did. This was the first one. Most people skipped over. What was your
Mhm.
guys' react? I know that I saw Courtney's social media posts on this, and she popped. So go ahead and express yourself a little bit there, Courtney.
I teared up. I teared up. I mean, part of the reason I teared up is because the scene we get with Peggy before is she says, "Haven't I earned my happy ending?"
Mm-hmm.
And it's very Steve. It's the same thing with Steve we hear.
Mhm.
And so and I mean, I'm glad they did it because as we were watching and we're getting there, we never see her until the mid credits. So she's missing where everybody else gets all these happy things and they go back to doing their stuff, and then we get the credits, and then we get Peggy, and they have found the Hydra Stomper, and Steve is inside the Hydra Stomper. So it's Captain Carter's Endgame, end of the line, which
Yeah.
is it's nice. It's a nice little bookend. And I
Cool.
teared up a little bit because I'm like, oh, Steve's in there.
Fly, since you're
'Cause I'm a
usually
dork.
heartless on this stuff, what was your reaction to this?
So I would like to think because of the relationship that Black Widow and Peggy seem to have in this,
Did it be
it's
weird?
it's like a messing with each other back and forth. I'd like to think that that Black Widow says that to her. Peggy goes to open it, and Steve Rogers' decomposing corpse just falls out, and she's like,
Rude.
"Gotcha!"
I was waiting for that. I was
I
waiting.
hate
to say
you
that.
so much sometimes.
And it was Zombie Steve.
Marvel Zombie
Oh, Zombie
Steve.
Steve.
No, from another multiverse, another Stark that just died. That's which one
There
it
you go.
was.
There you go. There you go.
Horrible.
I don't know. We're probably going to see like the Winter Soldier Steve. You know, he's been frozen.
Oh, that would be cool.
Okay,
That's my what if thought for it.
so now my what if in general. I know these hasn't done the numbers that they've done with all the other Marvel stuff on the TV shows. I don't see the fan reactions even close to what we saw before. Two questions: A, why? And B, how do we fix that going forward? Because I think these are fantastic, but for some reason, the excitement level is a little hard to. I feel like anyway, is it's just not translating as well to the mass market. Do you agree with that, or is that just Blythe? What do you think first?
So I think that they didn't intend for it to. They knew going in that it wasn't going to be as big as a WandaVision or as big as a Loki. This is a break. This is a break for the MCU stuff because if you think about it, since I can't even since Endgame ended, we have been getting hit with Marvel content. We've gotten a new Spider-Man movie, we've gotten Black Widow, we've gotten 3 shows. This was a break.
Shang-Chi.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Shang-Chi. This was a break, and it was a call out for the more deep-seated fans of the comics, because it's a what if, and if you're a comic book fan, you love what ifs.
Yeah.
And for the deep-seated MCU fans who want to see a change up in the universe and also want to speculate on what this means for the universe going forward, because it is technically canon with the multiverse that it's created. Like, it is technically canon, and so you can theorize and stuff around
twice,
that.
but yeah.
But yeah, so I think that I don't think it was meant to be as gangbusters as like WandaVision was or as Loki was. And it also could be a bit of fatigue for the same reasons.
Yeah.
People
we need a break.
People are not clamoring to watch week to week every month of something coming out Marvel related. And I wonder if in November, when Hawkeye hits, that's when you really see the fatigue kind of set in and the numbers that they expect to go down a little bit, because Hawkeye already isn't the most popular of characters. And now you're introducing Kate Bishop, which she's good. I like her. I like her book that they introduced her in, but I don't know if people are clamoring to see Kate Bishop on the big screen. So we'll see what they do. I'm excited to see Steve Rogers the musical.
Ouch.
I love it.
What about you, Courtney? What do you think?
As unpopular as this opinion is going to be, I think part of it is it's the animation.
I think you're right.
Not everybody digs animation, and frankly, I don't watch a whole lot of animation either. Like, I'll watch the new Disney movie when it comes out because 1, I have nieces, and 2, I'm a big kid. But I don't watch tons of animation. I watch this because I'm a Marvel person and I'm a comic book girl. But there's a lot of people out there who probably just said, "Nah, it's cartoon."
Yeah.
And just chose not to watch it. But I also agree with Blythe. I think because the other thing is I do think it's a stopgap.
Yeah.
Between, I think it was supposed to be meant as a stopgap between Loki and Hawkeye. And since there's nothing happening for the rest of October, I think that's the break people are going to get, and then they're going to get back into Hawkeye. But I do agree with Blythe. I'm not sure Hawkeye is going to do the numbers that WandaVision and Loki did. Because the other thing is WandaVision wasn't supposed to do the numbers, or wasn't anticipated to do the numbers that it did.
Sure.
Yeah.
And that just I think that blew everybody away. And then Winter Soldier, we got that next, and then we got Loki, and I think What If was just supposed to be a stopgap, and then we get a little bit of a rest before Hawkeye. I don't think Hawkeye is going to do as well as, say, Loki or WandaVision did, and for the reasons that Blythe says, it's not,
unless they surprise us.
Yeah, I mean, unless it's a giant surprise. But I mean, Hawkeye, Jeremy Renner as Hawkeye has never been the most popular character that has come out of the Marvel universe. Not to impugn Jeremy Renner, but it is what it is. And I think also there's still a lot of fans who have a very bitter taste in their mouth about him being the one that survived instead of Nat. I think that, that rubs some people the wrong way. And so I think that reflects on the character when it really shouldn't, but it does. And so I will be really surprised if Hawkeye does great numbers. I think people like me are waiting for Miss Marvel and She-Hulk and Moon Knight. Like, I'm really waiting for She-Hulk and Miss Marvel and Moon Knight to come along. So
I think too, Hawkeye is going to have the same kind of feeling as Falcon and the Winter Soldier did.
Lots of
And
action.
I hate to say it, but I always forget that came out. Unfortunately
I
for me,
forgot about it till you said that.
and
Falcon and the Winter
unfortunately,
Soldier?
And it was
until
fantastic.
Courtney said it, I forgot that show came out. It was good. I enjoyed watching it when I did, but it wasn't as memorable as WandaVision and Loki.
Yeah.
And I think Hawkeye's going to tread that same type of thing of just it'll be good. We'll enjoy it when it's out and it's here, and it'll have great moments. But as soon as it's done, we're just going to be like, let's get on to the next thing. Especially because following it in December, we have Spider-Man: No Way Home.
Oh yeah. The next TV show, I think, is Miss Marvel.
Miss Marvel, yeah. Next TV show, Miss Marvel. But the next movie, the next Marvel property is that Spider-Man movie. And oh man, people are waiting for that Spider-Man movie.
Yeah, Eternals will be smack dab in the middle of Hawkeye.
Yep.
Yeah, Hawkeye, they're going to need to give us Easter eggs, and they're going to need to give us stuff to speculate on. That's why people are drawn to these. Like, when there's a lot of people on the internet talking about it because, well, was it this? That's what gets everybody talking. What If didn't give us anything to talk about? We don't have a. Well, this is going to happen. Like, okay, well, it's What If, and it's self-contained. That's nice.
And I think that's what it was supposed to be, though.
Yeah,
I think that's what If was supposed to be. It was just
it's unfortunately going to be forgotten.
For fun.
Yeah, sit down and watch your half hour, enjoy the moment, and move on to the next.
Wait till the next Star Wars comes out. Shut up, people.
It would be interesting if in Hawkeye, and this would get people on board with it, if they start fleshing out what's her name? The character that was the character that was at the end of
I think the
Falcon
Countess?
Winter Soldier and
the
Black
Countess
Widow.
Valentina.
Yeah. Yes.
Countess Julia Louis-Dreyfus, the Countess Valentina.
If they start fleshing out like what that's what I'm saying. If they start fleshing out what she's doing and who she's recruiting and why she's recruiting them, if that's kind of what we get during Hawkeye a little bit.
And some of the Dark Adventure stuff, I'm in.
Yeah.
Well, and what they could also do, because Blythe, you've mentioned it several times before, they have introduced a young Avenger, at least one young Avenger in every show, except for What If, in every show leading up to this. And Kate Bishop is, the next one in that line. So they could bring up Young Avenger stuff, and they could bring up Dark Avenger stuff during Hawkeye.
Yeah.
And that might really help the numbers. I'm not saying Hawkeye is not going to be good. I just,
No, I don't think
it has a couple of strikes against it before it gets even out of the gate.
Going in.
Yeah.
So let's do this. We're going to give 2 grades today. We're going to give the grade to this last episode of What If, and then I would like to do a grade for What If as a whole. Let's go all the way around before we do the What If as a whole. So what is your grade for this last episode of What If, Blythe?
So I give it an A-, and because we got Gamora with no explanation as to why we got Gamora. And I know it's because they cut an episode. It was supposed to be a 10-episode series, but because all the COVID nonsense going on, they didn't get it done in time. I would have liked to see what if Iron Man fell on Sakaar and watch that whole thing play out.
I want to see Scar. That would be awesome.
Yeah. So that I think that's probably my biggest gripe with it is it just was random. Like I was like, do I need to go back and watch these episodes? Did I miss something in one of them where Gamora like suited up and
because she's full on Thanos armor in that one.
Yeah, and I don't like her little device.
The Crusher?
That was
the Infinity Crusher, whatever
it was
called.
Too like
contrived.
Yeah, it was, and it was weird. It like I thought like the stone went in the top of it and it crushed it up there, but then it ended up being like a little spider with teeth, which is weird.
Yeah, I
So
thought they had to feed it through the thing, and
So
the
just
next thing I know, it was sucking the life out of Ultron. I'm like,
so it
"Oh,
would have gotten an
okay."
A, but basically just because this hanging thread right there, that's what
yeah,
threw you off.
just didn't. But yeah,
Courtney, what do you give this episode?
I'm gonna go with a B plus
Yeah.
for a lot of the same reasons. And I will fully admit, and everybody can yell at me later, I haven't actually watched the Killmonger episode yet. I keep forgetting to, and then we do the show, and I'm like, oh crap, I gotta watch the Killmonger, and it's I miss it. So I know some of what happened because I've
You don't
talked to
miss
Blythe
anything.
about it and everything, but I don't fully know. So that's my fault for not knowing quite what's going on with Killmonger in this episode. But I also have the same problem. It's like I really would have liked to have seen Gamora rather than her just show up.
Mhm.
There you
I would have
go. And
rather
I
had the
also,
Gamora episode than the Killmonger episode.
Killmonger episode.
yeah,
Yeah.
I would also let me just pause this since we're talking is how does T'Challa know that Killmonger is his cousin in this episode? Because he calls him a
Oh,
couple times, but they never address the fact.
because they're just
I mean,
assuming, I
unless the
guess.
Watcher tells them behind the scenes and we don't know, but T'Challa calls him
Well,
cousin like 2 or 3 times.
maybe because at the end of his episode, he ends up going back to Earth, right?
Oh
Like
yeah,
he's
that's
a
right.
man, but
Never
so
mind.
maybe the Killmonger in his universe isn't a bad guy. Maybe he's an actual like cousin.
Yeah, I keep forgot
Maybe.
they're not in the same. Yep, I forgot they're not in the same
Fair enough.
universe. Never mind.
It's
I'll
a
just say
multiverse.
I'm still standing by my B plus. It's still a good grade.
I give it a B, not because I thought it was good. But let's be honest. I mean, and yes, I love the Zola stuff, and I love that there's no scrolls, but it's pretty. I don't kill me. I feel like this was a forgettable episode. I
I feel
watched
about the
it.
zombie one.
I'll watch it again. I mean, I'll watch the whole series again, but I just feel like okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
I
felt
was
like
entertained. I was entertained at the time, and that's fine with
That's
me.
all.
You know?
That's I think that's what these are for.
yeah.
Truthfully.
I felt like I was much more excited the last episode when we were introduced to Vision as Ultron and him
Yeah.
having the stones and the fight
Yeah.
between him and the Watcher. Like that
Because it
felt
wasn't a satisfying closer.
Yeah.
It
Mhm.
really wasn't.
And maybe
And I
because
do-
we've seen
okay.
this before. We've seen a group of Avenger type heroes take down the baddie that has all the Infinity Stones working together. They almost don't do it, but then something
Yeah.
pulls them in at the end. So it just, I think that was it. That's what if should be things different. I think that's why I had such a problem with the Killmonger episode. It was just the Black
the
Panther
same,
movie
yeah.
with a little bit of Tony Stark thrown in. But it just wasn't
That's
different
fair.
enough for me to be super stoked on it.
Okay,
Yeah.
so let's give our grades to What If Season 1. Blythe?
A plus. It's
What?
it's a great. I
Wow.
mean, it's a great series from start to finish. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed the animation. I like that style of like a 3D comic booky thing. I mean, it has its problems, but everything has its problems at some point. But I mean, I love my MCU content, and as long as they keep pumping it out, I'm gonna keep watching it, and I'm gonna keep giving it A pluses. So that Deb goes, what?
I can't even fathom this getting it, yeah. It's all good though. I mean, I didn't hate it, but I just can't fathom anybody giving this an A plus. Courtney, what do you give?
I'm gonna give it an A. Because as our listeners know, there were a couple episodes that I just didn't really care for. I didn't care for the zombie episodes, but I don't like zombies. And I thought the Thor episode was
Weak.
pretty weak and stupid. Sorry.
That's fair.
Sorry. But yeah, but overall it was an enjoyable romp through a what could be kind of universe. And I liked the approaches that they took, like with Captain Carter, obviously, but also with Nat. I like this Nat. I liked this power hungry, crazed Vision. I thought that was a really fun because we don't see that with Bettany's Vision, and I like that. So I mean, there was a lot of stuff I did enjoy. So I give it a solid A.
Fair enough. Now, I'm going to give it a B with a caveat. Now, I'm giving it a B because I enjoyed the concept. I had fun, but like I said for this last episode, in next month, I'm not going to be able to remember any of these episodes. I might remember one or two, and I'll have to go and rewatch. Like, what did that happen? Okay, it's not memorable to me, but I enjoyed it. And yes, that's what they were made for. But now, with my caveat of giving it a B, I'm pretending there's no scrolls because if I have to take the scrolls in, it's a C. So you're welcome, Marvel, for giving you that. So I'm overlooking scrolls for a minute.
They're all scrolls.
And it just went to an F-. Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Just a universe of scrolls.
Yeah.
So that is a show. And
Yeah.
wow, this was a what if. The Hawkeye will be coming in with a new crew, so we will see what happens. And until next time, I'm Dub. I'm here with Blythe. I'm here with Courtney. Keep on geeking on, guys. Check out all her stuff.
Bye, guys.
You have been listening to the latest episode of the iHeart Geek Show. Make sure you visit our website at www.iheartgeekshow.com. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And if you check us out on YouTube, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And keep on geeking on to all of you geek rock stars.